Arda and I are now joined by the head coach at Xtreme Couture and the coach and one of the cornermen of Sean Strickland. That is Eric Nicksick. And Eric, you can show us the shirt you got on here. We can't quite see it. You're going to be cornering that maniac in Sydney. Eric, this fight wasn't made officially, though, until we were like a month out. How did Sean handle all of that?
He did great, and this is typical Sean. He stays in the gym no matter what, and I think that opportunity allows us to take some of those short notice fights, or fights that come up on 4 days notice. Doing that because Sean is in the gym all the time. So we had a feeling that this might be the opportunity for him, and the motivation alone, just by saying like, "Look, man, you might be fighting for the title, but there's no short notice for us." Like I don't want to hear like, "Oh, we got 5.5 weeks." We've had time to prepare, and that was the whole game plan. That was the whole idea, is keep your ass in the gym and we're not going to have to worry about it.
So Sean Strickland, first UFC title fight, has to go to enemy territory, has to fight one of the best fighters of his generation at his weight class, certainly, and a main event of this magnitude. Like, as his coach, I just want to know about like the mental preparation. Like, how do you manage all of this to get your fighter in the best condition possible?
Yeah, and then we get Tyson Fury next month too. So let's just throw some more on top. Right?
Everything is coming
down. This is an opportunity of a lifetime, and again, it was probably one of the realest moments I've ever had with Sean. Was just recently we were in the gym, just me and him. And he said, "Man, this might be my only opportunity at this. This might be my only chance at a shot at the title." And you could see, he had that emotion to him where he was excited for this challenge. And this is something that I think anybody that steps in the UFC, if you get in this sport or get in this game, it's because you want to be a world champion. And if that's not the case, then, I don't think that your heart's in the right place. And Sean's is. And Sean's been busting his butt and doing everything he can to be, to put his best foot forward against arguably one of the best to ever do it in Israel Adesanya. So, we have a tall task ahead, but we're up for the challenge.
Eric, in the last 13 months, we've seen Sean drop 2 fights to divisional elite and then win 2 more pretty handily to earn himself this title shot. Where have you seen him evolve as a fighter in that time?
Honestly, Phil, I feel like he's starting to trust us as a coaching staff and understanding, what we're looking for. The Alex Pereira fight, we joke and we're candid about it. The whole game plan was to wrestle, and he showed zero wrestling at all. And we saw the after effects, right? And then the Jared Cannonier fight, he immediately called me after. He felt like he won the fight. I felt like there was more we could have done. And what I meant by that, when I talked to him in the fight and in the corner, we were talking about optics and aesthetics. And, you got to think a lot of these judges, you got to make it look pretty. You got to put some glitter and sequins on it and make it nice and shiny for these judges, right? And those are the things that Sean wasn't doing. And then afterwards on Sunday, he called me right away. He said, "Hey, man, I understood exactly now what you meant about optics and aesthetics, and I wasn't doing that." So I think over time, to answer your question, Phil, I think he's starting to trust us as a coaching staff and what we're trying to see and what we're trying to accomplish. And he's not just fighting these fights alone, just going in there as this wild man, that he has his resources to fall back on. And, I think that's where a lot of the growth and maturation comes from him now is man, I have a team around me that I can trust, and I'm going to listen to him.
So for a fight of this magnitude, I'm just curious. I know that you're not going to give us game plan specifics. That's totally fine. But in terms of routine or even just preparation leading up, what you can tell us, what changes now that this is a main event title fight in a totally different country?
Nothing really changes. I think a lot of what Sean does really well that a lot of people don't, I said a lot of people within our camp. Sean will spar even up to fight week. Sean will spar up to Tuesday or Wednesday, the same time as fight week. And that's very unorthodox, very uncommon amongst the fighting community. Obviously you don't want to risk any injury, but this is where he finds his best harmony, is in the chaos in those sparring rounds. So a lot won't really change from Sean. I think for us as a staff as a whole is just really trying to find some body types to utilize that we can go and see, like Sada Boussy, for example, from PFL. his length and trying to emulate Izzy the best that we can and utilize the guys within the room to give a look for Sean, I think will be the biggest challenge for us. But also we have the staff and the fighters within the realm of Xtreme Couture that can really give us those looks and help us out. But other than that, I think mostly the game plan, everything will kind of stay the same on what we do. And, but the body types, I think, will really help us, the guys we have.
We hear a lot, Eric, about the puzzle that is Israel Adesanya. He, too, comes from a very respected gym, City Kickboxing, Eugene Behrman, and their whole staff. As a coach and as a fan of the sport, what's something that you see from Israel Adesanya that guys like Arda and I might not fully appreciate?
Oh, man, his feint game. Coach Follis always had a great line, and it really resonates with me when it comes to Israel. It's the space between the notes that makes the music. And that space between the notes is Israel's feint game. And I seen it firsthand, man. I had a corner against him with Brad Tavares, and I like to call Israel like a snake charmer. He makes you fight at his pace, his rhythm, his length. And a lot of that's really predicated on the way that he moves and throughout his feint game. So the big thing that really stands out to me is how do you disrupt that and how do you make it a fight on your terms and not necessarily Israel's. And that's where I think he's the master at, man. I really do. I think if you break him down, a lot of the guys at City Kickboxing, they have a beautiful footwork game, but their feint game is second to none.
Eric, when you're in Australia Monday morning, day after the fight, just don't forget SportsCenter NFL Blitz. After your Raiders take on my Broncos, we got you covered, okay?
Man, I just, as long as I can see Florida State LSU, man, I got to see my Knowles, man. That's where I'm at.
I'm sure that's exactly what he's going to be thinking of.
I'll send you the TV ratings.
My guy just won the championship. I need to be watching Phil on television. That's exactly what Eric's going to be thinking.
What you missed.
Phil, as long as you're coming to my Sicko Saturdays and getting your butt in shape, that's all that matters to me, my man.
I'm there, brother. Thanks for the invite.
Eric, really appreciate you joining us here on UFC Fight Camp, man. All the best.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.